Hello, my friends. I am B, and this is B's Intuition. Today, we're going to do a reading. I thought it would be fun to do a reading about what can you do to help bring forth your manifestations, or what are you doing currently that is helping bring in those manifestations. Yeah, so that's like the topic. It's kind of a little bit. I'm like trying to think of how I'm going to put that as like a title. Because it's probably going to be kind of, I'll have to figure out a way to shorten it down for like a title on the thumbnail. Anyways, yeah, let's just dive right in. Please and thank you, Spirit. What is the collective, or what can the collective do to bring forth their manifestations? And or what are they already doing that is helping bring in their manifestations? Please and thank you for the collective. Please and thank you, Spirit. What can the collective do to bring in their manifestations? Or what are they doing to bring in their manifestations? Please and thank you, Spirit. Ooh, ooh. Oh, wow. Okay, we'll go with those. Oh no. Not the wind. That is not very nice. Yeah, well, I'll try and weigh them down. Okay. So the first card that came out is the Two of Pentacles. And then that was followed by the Ace of Swords, the Magician, and then Seven of Pentacles, and Queen of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Okay. Let's just dive right into the clarification. For some reason, I'm like looking at this Seven of Pentacles card, and I'm like, what does the Eight of Pentacles look like in this deck? Because I can't think of it right off the bat. I'm sure, like, when I see it, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what it looks like. I don't know why my brain's on that. Because maybe at first I thought it was the Eight of Pentacles, but it's the Seven of Pentacles. I don't know why I'm like thinking about that. Yeah. So let's start out by clarifying the Two of Pentacles. Please and thank you, Spirit. What is the collective already doing, or what can they do to help bring forth their manifestations with this Two of Pentacles? Please and thank you, Spirit. Clarification for the Two of Pentacles. For the collective, please and thank you, Spirit. What can the collective do to bring forth their manifestations, or what are they already doing to bring forth their manifestations? Okay. Maybe one more. Anything else close that. Oh. Okay, that's too funny. Okay, let me show you what came out. Wow. So the Two of Pentacles was clarified by the Six of Cups, the Ten of Cups, and then the Eight of Pentacles came out, which is really funny because I was literally just talking about the Eight of Pentacles because I couldn't remember what it looked like in this deck. Silly. Spirit is so silly. And then bottom of the deck is the Six of Pentacles. This is really beautiful energy. And like the Two of Pentacles, I don't know why I said it like that. The Two of Pentacles is really about finding balance, and honestly in multiple areas of life. Ideally all of the areas of life. Finding that place of balance. Especially if you find yourself getting overwhelmed easily, or feeling like, you know, something is out of balance. The Six of Cups. This is usually like a card of nostalgia, like thinking back typically of someone and you have really good memories with that person. But in this context, I feel like there's something about your kind reputation. You're very giving to others. You're kind to others. Like you extend, what is that saying? Like you extend a hand to those who need it. You're like not afraid to emotionally support other people around you or care for them, be in that heart space, that vulnerable heart space. Also, you may be working on healing your inner child, and I think that's setting you up for success. And I feel like through that process of you healing your inner child, you're going to also heal other people's inner child because of the way that you show up in a higher vibration. The Ten of Cups is usually a card of like happily ever after. But it's interesting because it's almost like this rainbow with all the cups in it. It feels like something about dreams or dreaming. I do think that there is a part to this where it's like, don't give up on the vision that you have for your future. Like, believe that you can have it all and it will come. If you build it, they will come. That's a quote from a movie. Baseball movie, I can't remember the name. Good quote though. Yeah, like everything that you want for yourself in your future, if you want to build a family, you can get that. If you want to have a house someday, you can get that. If you want, or even just a home, you know, a nice, comfortable home environment is just as valid, I want to say, as like getting a house, you know, like you don't need an actual house to be happy. You can live in an apartment with the love of your life and it be like the best time of your life, right? But yeah, if you want to build a comfortable home, a warm home that's inviting, warm, and filled with positivity and happiness, that is possible for you. You just have to believe in it. And keep that faith, I feel like saying. Vision boards, mood boards, those types of things could be helpful to kind of maybe keep you or keep your vision at the forefront of your brain, and also to like in those moments where you're kind of like, is all of this effort worth it? You know, is it possible for me to achieve this future that I want so badly? It may be nice to kind of, you know, do a vision board or a mood board of like all the things that you want to see in your future, or, you know, Pinterest, you know, if you just want to build a folder or whatever they call the things on Pinterest, of like all of the various different things you want your future to look like. That could be like a fun way of kind of reminding yourself of what your vision is and keeping it exciting and also keeping it at the forefront of your brain. So in those moments of like, is this ever truly worth it? You can remind yourself that it is, because that is what you're striving for. And then I actually really love that those two cards are followed by the Eight of Pentacles, because the Eight of Pentacles is all about hard work. And not just hard work, but like there's something about working with your hands that could be significant for you as well. Maybe I'm getting something about creativity. So maybe if you just like draw, paint, create with your hands in some way, woodwork, that may also kind of help you in some way. Maybe it's kind of helpful to keep your brain active and your creative juices flowing, and that could attract your manifestations towards you. But with the Eight of Pentacles, it's that hard work that you're putting in, and this is like 3D hard work. You know, you're not just thinking about this vision you have for the future, you're actually bringing it into the 3D through your hard work and dedication. Also, there's the part of the Eight of Pentacles which is about mastery. Like, you work at something for so long, you work so hard at something for a period of time, and you become a master at that thing. Also, the Eight of Pentacles is right before the Nine of Pentacles, obviously. But the Nine of Pentacles is all about being amongst your abundance. And so I feel like you're much closer to reaching your manifestations than you realize. And I'm getting that message again of like keeping the faith alive. Knowing that what is meant for you is coming to you. And you're doing what is necessary to bring that into the 3D I see. I also feel like you should be proud of yourself for not only having the vision, not only showing up in the wonderful way that you are, but, you know, putting in that real work. It's not easy. And then with the Six of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, there is that balancing of the scales. So there's like that recurring theme of finding balance. And, you know, the Ten of Cups next to that Eight of Pentacles kind of gives me that energy of like, not just one or the other, you know? Like if you are building something in the 3D, but maybe you don't know exactly what you're working towards, maybe it's good to have like a little bit of a dream for your future so that you at least know what it is that you're striving for. And then on the other side, instead of just daydreaming all day, bringing it into reality in some way, that will be helpful for you. Or that's something that you should be proud of, I feel like. And it's probably creating that balance. It's like not just daydreaming, not just hard work, but balancing the two. The Six of Pentacles could also be indicating more of that Six of Cups energy I was picking up. How you show up in a very generous, kind, giving sort of energy. I really do feel like you have a really good reputation, and that's going to help you. Not to say that you should live for other people's validation of you, but I think you simply just show up as the best, as your best self, or at least how close you can get to being your best self at this point in your journey. Yeah. I feel like people see you being kind to others, giving to others, being very fair. That balancing of the scales also gives me that sense of like justice as well. And maybe on the other hand, the Six of Pentacles could be also talking about like it's okay to receive as well. And honestly, I feel like if you are open to receiving, that could even help you manifest what you want sooner, because you no longer have that blockage when it comes to people offering you things. Something about feeling worthy of receiving may be important for you. Reminding yourself that you're worthy of receiving. Yeah, there's also something about like helping the less fortunate there. You may do like charity work or like volunteer work, and that just adds to your reputation. I do believe, and I don't know if this is like based in real, anything really real, but I think that when you show up in the world trying to create good karma for yourself by doing good things, kind things, thinking of others, I believe that that is a way of fast tracking, like speeding up those manifestations, because it's like you're putting yourself into karmic balance, and or you are doing you're neutral. I think it's also about like neutralizing either past life karmic karma, if you believe in that, or just karma that you have accumulated through your life of being just typically unhealed, because we don't come out the womb being healed. It's a journey. And so maybe it's something along the lines of like, oh yeah, something just about like the karma aspect, building really good karma to neutralize those karmas of the past, either past life or this life. I want to see what's underneath the Six of Pentacles. Five of Wands. So there's something about holding your ground here. I know the Seven of Wands is more like that sort of message, but to me in this context, it feels like hold your ground in the way of like when things get competitive. Don't listen to your opponents or the people that are opposing you or opposing your dreams, the things that you want. Sometimes you're going to have to stand up for yourself when it comes to your journey. But what I mean by that is when like, and it doesn't even mean necessarily that, what was that message? I got distracted because my leg fell asleep. Yes, okay. So it's not even always people that, you know, want to see us fail that are contradicting our goals. Sometimes it's the people that love us and care for us that their own fears get in the way, their own projections get in the way. So there may be times where you kind of have to stand up for yourself and say, no, this is the right path for me. You may not understand it, but I understand it, and that's enough. You know? Or I feel like this is my purpose, and if you don't agree with that, that's not my problem. You know, it's really like something about that here. Like, don't be afraid to shut down other people's pessimistic thoughts or projections. That could be something that will help your manifestations get here easier or quicker. I'm just curious what's underneath the Five of Wands. Knight of Swords. So it's almost like when you do hold your ground, when you're showing up in this kind energy and also you're open to receiving, things start speeding up very quickly for you. It's something about doing those things is going to help like rocket you to your manifestations, your goals, where you're aiming for. So if that's what you're doing currently, keep doing that. You're on the right track. And if you're not doing that yet, I would, you know, suggest, you don't have to, but I would suggest maybe, you know, do those things of like standing up for yourself, giving, caring about others, you know, trying to build good karma. That I feel like is all going to contribute to your manifestations coming in quickly. But when I do say quickly, I mean quickly in divine timing, which is not always our timing because we sometimes want something and we want it here right now. But that's not always what's best for us. Some of, you know, when we're on these journeys, we're not always at the place we need to be in order to fully appreciate and accept that manifestation. So, yeah, trusting that it's coming in the timing that it should. That could also be a message there. Let's go on to the Ace of Swords, see what that's about. Please and thank you, Spirit. Can you clarify the Ace of Swords for the collective? What can the collective do to attract their manifestations? And or what are they already doing that is helping them to attract these manifestations? Please and thank you, Spirit. There was somebody like sitting near me, watching me before I started, which made me nervous. But they're gone now, I think. Unless they're eavesdropping. Then how dare they? Ooh. Ooh, baby. Okay. Clarifying the Ace of Swords, we have the Page of Cups and the Knight of Cups. The way that the Knight of Cups came out, I almost thought it was going to come out in the reverse because it kind of just like flipped and stuff. But came out upright. Very nice. And bottom of the deck is the Six of Pentacles again. So the Ace of Swords can sometimes be illumination of something, like the truth, an idea. The Page of Cups and the Knight of Cups, this is so much heart heart-based energy. It's beautiful. Maybe there's also something about balancing your thoughts with your feelings, finding a balance between those two things. The Page of Cups, I don't know why, but I'm getting the word guppy. Like I believe that's a word for like baby fish, I want to say. But like you started out as a guppy. But then it's so funny because it's like the Page of Cups and then the Knight of Cups, and that shows progression. You started out as a guppy, but you've been building towards your success here. Also, the Page of Cups can sometimes be a reminder of like magic exists. The impossible, or what seems impossible, is not necessarily impossible. It can happen. You just have to believe in it. So that could be something. Keeping that thought in your mind, that magic is possible. I believe that magic can happen, and it will happen for me. You know, kind of maybe positive affirmations could definitely be a part of this Ace of Swords energy. Filling yourself with a lot of love, confidence, there's also creativity in the Cup cards as well. Embracing your creativity. And I actually think I said that with the Eight of Pentacles, something about working with your hands. Which, you know, this is going to sound very interesting or maybe counterproductive to the idea of manifesting something. Sometimes I've noticed that if I'm going through this period where I'm not really sure exactly what I can do to set myself up on the right path that I want, or I don't really have the energy or ambition or mental space for what I feel like will directly encourage that manifestation to come forth. I've noticed that simply by painting something completely unrelated, or drawing or writing, I've noticed that when I do those things, I come out of those moments like being much more clear-headed. I'm also like coming up with ideas easier. I'm more motivated afterwards. So sometimes when we do things that almost seem like they're counterproductive or not related to our manifestations, simply by doing those types of things, like working with your hands, creating, you know, yeah, expressing yourself creatively, it may seem like a distraction. It may seem like, how is this going to help me? But it might, especially if you're in this point of your life where you're starting to doubt yourself, or you're running out of steam. Like maybe take some time apart from your busy life to maybe doodle a little bit in a little notebook or something, or, you know, write poems, or, you know, whatever. And it doesn't have to be anything directly related to that manifestation, but sometimes it can help you become, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Help you be in alignment to your manifestations easier, if that makes any sense. So it's almost like, because to me, like, say you want abundance. How does abundance come into fruition? It's created. And so if you want to tap into the mindset of abundance, you may need to tap into the creative mindset as well, if that makes any sense. Because creativity is, you know, about creation, about bringing ideas down to earth, and that may actually directly help you here. Oh, I also see how like the Page of not Page of Pentacles, Page of Cups here is well, this person's standing still, and then this Knight of Cups is starting to move. I almost feel like there's something here about action. Like maybe you've meditated on something for long enough, and now it's ready for you to go forward with it, especially when it comes to the ideas you have, and especially the ideas you have in regards to your path, but also unrelated. And it's also, I feel like, because the pages are typically seen as like the students, and so I almost feel like you have been in that position of learning, and now it's time for action. It's time for doing. It's time to bring that knowledge that you have accumulated through your journey and bring it down to earth, put it into practice. And I find it very interesting that there's wings on the back of his heel and on the top of his helmet here, as if to say, when you start to act on these ideas, these concepts, things are speeding up for you. The Six of Pentacles. I find that so interesting that it came out again at the bottom of the deck. So it definitely is important for something. This is such a random message, but dress for the role that you want, not the role that you have. And maybe that's a little bit cheesy to say, but it may actually help you. And again, it's kind of like putting yourself in alignment with that energy of what it is that you want. Like, and maybe that's why the whole creative process is important for you, because if you can create something in your mind and then bring it into reality, I feel like that is manifestation on a smaller level. Say you have an idea for a painting and you do that freaking painting, like you manifested that painting into existence. And so I feel like maybe that's what it is too, is like simply by working with your hands, doing something creative, creating something, even if it's something unrelated, even if it's something that you see as very minor in comparison. I think it's kind of putting you in the energy that aligns with the goals or manifestations, the things that you want. And so, yeah, dressing for the role that you want rather than the role that you have, I feel like that could be helpful for sure. And this could also be another message about don't be afraid to receive. Because I think that you're definitely a giving kind of person with all these cup cards coming through. I think you're a very kind and giving person. But remember to give to yourself and allow others to give to you as well. Because that creates the balance. Because if you're always giving, that's going to knock things out of balance, and that's not going to be in alignment to your manifestations ultimately. It may sound like a good thing if you're just giving, and like you're never receiving, never pausing, never taking a step back to, focus on you. That's really imbalanced. And, the saying is like, anything, what is that saying? Something about like, anything that you get too much of becomes a bad thing. Everything is fine in moderation, and that could be something there too. I want to see what's underneath that Six of Pentacles. Knight of Swords. So through dressing for the job that you want, through allowing other people to give to you, also making sure you're giving to yourself at the same time as you're giving to others, that's going to help expedite this journey towards your manifestations. Wow. I like that energy. I'm curious what's underneath the Knight of Swords. Judgment. You're setting yourself up for, and this may sound a little bit dramatic, but like you're setting yourself up for Judgment Day. But like for me, it's like that moment when you finally get to the point of like receiving your manifestation, and you're looking back on how long it has taken you to get here, all of the milestones that you have passed on your journey, all of the obstacles that you've overcome through this time. I feel like there's like that moment of like deep appreciation you're gonna feel that you put in all of that hard work, and you've been keeping at doing that hard work. You've been, keeping yourself as focused as possible on your goals. And I feel like that kind of is what this judgment card is talking about. It's like when you get to that point of receiving your manifestations, you can look back, and maybe this is also encouraging you in general to just look back now, even before you receive those manifestations, and think about how far have you come already. Because you may be surprised if you've been on this spiritual journey, self-improvement journey, manifestation journey for years. Look back on how you were a year ago. See the difference of you a year ago versus today, And sometimes it's small things that we may overlook, small little milestones that we kind of, I think it's an unconscious thing, but we sometimes overlook our own successes, especially if we consider them small in comparison to maybe other people's successes or the big goals that we want to hit. So just remind yourself that you are awesome and you're doing all of the right stuff, and appreciate every little tiny success you have along the way. And that also allows you to practice that feeling of gratitude as well. And then when it's like you finally receive that big manifestation, you hit that big goal that you've been aiming for, you're in the right kind of mind space to really appreciate that manifestation. Let's go on to the Magician, clarify that. Please and thank you, Spirit. Can we get some clarification on this Magician card? What can the collective do to bring forth their manifestations, or what are they already doing to bring forth their manifestations? Please and thank you, Spirit. Please and thank you. Okay, let me see. Well, let me show you. I'm like looking at these and pondering them before I even show you. King of Wands, clarifying the Magician. Seven of Wands, clarifying the Magician. Two of Swords and 10 of Swords. Bottom of the deck is the Justice card. Ooh, I think I see this message now. So, we're clarifying the Magician. And I don't know if you know this, but the Magician is all about manifestation. And it's really about like manipulating energy in your favor, so that you can manifest and you can receive what it is that you desire. Also, the Magician is someone that has gone through a lot as well. Somebody that's experienced and mastered all 4 elements. So there could even be something about like using the knowledge that you've gained through your journey already, which I think I already said. That's coming through again with that Magician. And this is really interesting. I see this with the King of Wands, 7 Wands, 2 of Swords, 10 of Swords. It seems very bizarre at first glance, because it's like, this seems really positive, but this seems like maybe negative. But to me, this is speaking of a backstory. And this is you in the position of people like placing a lot of importance on you and hearing out what you have to say, especially when it comes to your personal journey. So like when you come into this time of manifesting and success, you're going to tell your story here. You're going to talk about how you've had to fight against the odds. The odds were not stacked in your favor from the start, but you didn't let that set you back. You didn't let that defeat you. You kept going, you kept pushing, you kept believing that success was possible. You didn't give up on yourself or these desires. The Two of Swords, even in those moments of confusion, those moments of not knowing what to do, where to go, trusting your intuition, being willing to go outside of your comfort zone. Those are all things that you're probably going to be sharing. And then the Ten of Swords. So it's like very beautiful because, especially if people are like, like making assumptions, maybe. Because like when you come into success, I feel like people see you as somebody that just is lucky. Or, well, luck does have a lot to do with it, but it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like certain people may feel like, oh yeah, of course they manifested that because they've had an easy life, or they've never had to work hard, or they've just been handed everything throughout their life. I feel like this backstory is telling people that you fought for this manifestation. You hit rock bottom probably multiple times. You've been confused. You've been motivated and unmotivated. There's something here about how your story is going to touch other people and help other people to see that it really is worth it to keep going. It really is worth it to never give up. And I feel like when you share your backstory, people are probably going to be surprised, because I feel like we typically kind of put people that are successful or who we deem as successful, we kind of put them on a pedestal. And we're like, well, yeah, they're like the prodigy child. Of course they're going to hit those manifestations. They're going to, hit those goals, accomplish what they want to. Or maybe we make the assumption about like, oh yeah, they probably have always been confident. So, of course they're gonna create that for themselves because they never had moments of insecurity, But you're being very vulnerable here. You're being very open about your story. This could also be a reminder again of like thinking back on, yeah, and it's interesting too that even though these cards are kind of in front of the King of Wands, the King of Wands is looking this way, which feels like looking back to the past. So this is like a, what is it called? Poop. Like it's like, I can't think of the word. I'll try and edit it in if I can think of it. But you are looking back on the past and remembering the obstacles you faced, those moments of confusion that you faced, those moments of devastation that you faced. Also, there could be like, with the Ten of Swords especially, people may also assume, especially when you come into success, like, oh, well, they probably had people to help them along the way. I feel like the Ten of Swords is saying, not only did you not have people helping you along the way, probably a lot of people in your life, and I hate to say this, but a lot of people were probably preventing you from realizing your true potential, trying to keep you held down, keep you held back, keep you trapped, keep you feeling helpless, hopeless. Like, I feel like if anything, you've had people sabotage you every step of the way on your journey. So when people say, oh yeah, they probably were just given whatever that is, or they were probably helped by every person in their life and they probably had a really easy time because of that, I feel like you're showing up and you're saying, no, no, that's not how it happened. I had a lot of painful experiences. I had a lot of people stab me in the back. I had a lot of people that maybe you trusted, allowed close to you, and they betrayed you. And with the sunrise in the background on the Ten of Swords, it's like you had to find the strength somehow within you. Even in those darkest, darkest moments, you chose to rise again. And that's important here. And I feel like that's the story that you are sharing, is like, I had to find that strength within me. Nobody else was giving me that strength. I had to pull myself out of the darkness. Nobody else did that for me. I did. And that makes for a much better backstory, I feel. And I think that's probably why people are going to really love you telling your story, you sharing your story. I feel like it's going to help people to feel like if they can do it, then maybe I can too. Maybe I can go towards my dreams. Maybe I can go towards my goals and aim for my own manifestations. And something is like the Magician, and then it's clarified by the King of Wands. It feels like you kind of already are, and I don't know if this is helpful or not helpful, but it almost feels like you are a version of your higher self already. I feel like there's something about how you are in this very moment powerful. You are in this very moment looked at as someone who is successful already. You may not feel successful. You may not feel like you have everything that you want yet, but people are perceiving you that way. And so I almost feel like this is where you can kind of use it for not only your own betterment, but for the betterment of others by sharing your story. Like, this is what I'm doing on my journey. Like, I may not have everything I want yet, but I'm on the track to receiving that. And it's like people know that you're meant for something here. With the King of Wands, the Magician, like people know that you are important and that you have some significant purpose here in this life. And so it's like, even if you're not successful now, people probably look at you and they're like, yeah, it's only a matter of time before they become successful, before they get everything that they want. And it's interesting too, the combination of the King of Wands and the Ten of Swords I find very fascinating, because it's almost like the Ten of Swords can wipe out anyone. It's not for the weak of heart. Going through this kind of energy of being at a rock bottom, especially if you've been at a rock bottom in your life multiple times, it's like hell. It literally is like you have to somehow come back from hell, you know? Like, it's literally like, how am I ever gonna see things bright again? How am I ever gonna think positively again? How am I ever going to reach things and grow my own sense of confidence even? Whereas the King of Wands is that confident energy. So maybe you've been kind of faking your confidence until you make it, but I feel like that could be very helpful for you on this journey. Kind of just acting like you have what it takes, because you do. You know, you ultimately truly do have what it takes to achieve the things that you want, if you believe in that. And so it's like the confidence that you and determination that you give off is empowering to other people, especially when they know your backstory, especially when they hear about all the things that you've been through in your life that have tried to hold you back, tried to sabotage you on your path. You haven't given up and you stayed strong, you kept fighting. And it's like, maybe you also say something along the lines of like, I have been the only one that's been in my corner. You know, I haven't had anyone else in my corner fighting for me. That's been me. But that's also going to empower people, because it's like, okay, if they were able to find that strength, maybe I can find that strength within me too. You're very inspirational, I'm getting. Yeah, so like telling your story, even now, before you receive those major manifestations, that could be really important. And also again, it's something about creating the narrative too. Because if like you're already seeing yourself as other people see you, because other people are probably seeing you as successful already. So it's like, if you see yourself as successful and you tell your story as if this is the backstory to my glow up, you know, that's going to be impactful for sure, and inspiring and encouraging, and it's going to help set you up for these manifestations 100%. The Justice card at the bottom of the deck, I find that so interesting. Well, the Justice card is like a lot about balance, being fair. And again, there's like, with the Justice card, sometimes it comes across as like karmic justice. I feel like you have been building up good karma, and that's good. Keep doing that because it's going to help your manifestations come into your life maybe faster. But there is also the sword that the Justice character is holding, and that can be a symbol of truth, the truth coming to light. So again, it's like speaking your truth, talking about your experience, not being afraid to include the details of, like, if it was a traumatic or what's the word I'm looking for, if it was kind of a dark backstory that you had in your life, I would not shy away from talking about it, because that just helps people feel like, wow, if they went through all of that and they are still here, they're still, they're still going for it, they're still like achieving things, then I definitely can do that too. And I almost feel like the Justice card could even be talking about how people that were your biggest critics becoming your biggest fans. Um, and it's like knowing that story. And then it's like when you tell your story, people finally see, like, okay, so they do deserve these manifestations. This is a fair thing because they have put in the work. They haven't given up on themselves. Like, so it's like, it's justice for you to receive your manifestations at this point. And that's what other people are going to see as well. I want to see what's underneath the Justice card. 6 of Wands. Look at that. That is success. Going into success and people witnessing that and celebrating your success. I like that a lot. So it's like, yeah, when you hit this achievement, milestone, manifestation, people are going to be like, especially the people that know your backstory, they're going to be like, finally, justice has been served. This person has got to their manifestations, their goals, because they earned it. So it's like the people that once thought, oh, they probably had an easy life, that's why they're getting all these things. They're going to change their tune, especially if they know more about you and your story. Also, again, thinking like a winner. Keeping your mindset on, like, I am success or I am successful. Again, positive affirmations could definitely be helpful in this regard if you struggle with saying that to yourself or just thinking it. I want to see what's underneath the 6 of Wands. Queen of Swords. Ooh. So the Queen of Swords has a lot of clarity of mind. I almost feel like the vision is clear. The path ahead is clear. And why does that hit me as almost like obstacles being removed almost from your path? The path is clear. And maybe it's just clear in your mind, like, okay, this is what I want to do and how I want to go about it. But on the other hand, it could also be that there are energies working in your favor to remove blockages, to remove obstacles for you, so that this is an easier journey. And the Queen of Swords sees the truth. Also, I feel like out of all the queens, I would say that the Queen of Swords is probably the toughest. Maybe Queen of Wands could be tough too, but Queen of Swords, I feel like this is somebody that is tough. They don't give up easily. They're determined. And I feel like that could be contributing to your reputation of like, you never gave up. You kept going. You kept believing. You kept fighting. You're a fighter. I feel like people are going to see that and they're going to appreciate that about you. Wow. Okay, let's go into the Seven of Pentacles now. Please and thank you, Spirit. Clarify that Seven of Pentacles for us. What can the collective do to bring forth their manifestations? Or what are they doing to bring forth their manifestations? Their manifestations. Their manifestations. The sun is looking so beautiful, reflecting off of the water over there. It's like gold, shining, shimmering, splendid. Okay, anyways. Okay, let's go with that. Let's see what we got. Oh, interesting. Okay, so clarifying that Seven of Pentacles, we have the Ace of Swords, okay, Five of Wands, and then the Four of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords came out like this, which is interesting to me. And then we have Three of Swords upright and the Hierophant upright. Very interesting energy. So the Seven of Pentacles is about, honestly, it's about this journey and like, especially the duller moments of the journey where it's like, maybe you're not seeing the results that you want to see right at, like maybe you are, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by the voices. Not voices in my head, but other voices. Those are the ones that haunt me in the night. The voices in my head. These are just normal voices. I'm kidding. Actually, am I? I don't know. Anyways, yes, the Seven of Pentacles is really about this journey that you're on, building something, but anything worth having is going to take time to develop. And so the Seven of Pentacles is really a reminder to be patient and keep being consistent, because that's going to result in the best sort of outcome for you. And so especially those boring moments where it's like, okay, I'm not really seeing the growth that I want to see right now. You know, this, maybe you see something on your path and you feel like it almost contradicts the path that you're trying to go down or the thing that you want to achieve. You know, keeping the faith, keeping going anyways, that's like super important there with that Seven of Pentacles. There's something here about not being afraid to speak your truth, not being afraid to share new ideas, to talk, speak with your voice, communicate to others, mention the ideas that you have maybe to other people. Or maybe not even just bring or mention those ideas, but bring those ideas into reality and have other people see them when you bring them into reality. The Five of Wands almost feels like you may encounter some conflict along the way, some bumps in the road. But the thing with the Five of Wands is it's really not as scary as like the Five of Swords energy, not as serious, because the Five of Wands can also be a card of practice. Ooh, practice. You've been practicing at something for a long time, which is also how you can master something. Maybe something about practicing something with your brain. Stimulating your brain, keeping it active, keeping the hope alive, keeping the faith alive. Yeah. But I almost feel like there could be potential conflict. Because sometimes, too, if you're speaking your truth, And that's the thing is about kind of being a human, is like, you could say maybe the most empathetic or the most well thought out sentence or message, and you could share that with other people, and still someone out there is offended by it, and still somebody is angry at you for expressing that opinion, that idea, that whatever it is that you're sharing. And I feel like there's something here about staying with it, even if you have some backlash. And this isn't to say that if you're like, if you genuinely know that you're doing a bad thing, or you know that that people's being like, people who are offended actually have a reason to be offended, that's another thing. And you know, the Ace of Swords could talk about being true to yourself and being real with yourself. And you know, obviously if that's the case, then definitely, you know, take other people's criticisms into consideration and try to improve on that. But if you know that you're coming at things from a pure like a place of purity, a place of just really trying and being authentic to who you are, all that kind of stuff, you may just have to kind of ignore those naysayers, the people that, and it almost feels like these are kind of more petty people that are probably going to be more like, and I hate to say this, but more like background characters in your story. And maybe that's how you can tell, is like, if people are just being petty, you can kind of see like there wasn't really anything. Like, I could say my favorite color is green, like literally, it's like, okay, that's totally subjective, and you know, my favorite color may not be the same thing as your favorite color, but yet you may still get somebody that's like, oh my god, I hate green, how could you possibly say that green is your favorite, you know? And then it's like, okay, like, you're being dramatic, like, sit down, you're fine. All I said was green is my favorite color, kind of thing. Like, you know, like, I think you're going to be able to tell the difference, you know? Because I think your gut will tell you, your intuition will tell you, like, am I in the wrong? And if, you know, it really doesn't seem like you really did anything wrong, such as, say, like, your favorite color is green, then it's like, okay, I know that I can just ignore these people because they're just being weird. And I feel like those can be possible obstacles in your path, where it's like they're almost serving as a distraction from your goals. And so it's almost like, if you pay attention to those naysayers, those petty people that just want to argue with you for argument's sake, kind of blocking those people out is going to be important for you to stay focused on your goals. That could be a message there too. Kind of not listening to what others have to say, especially when it comes to your truth. Because it's like, your truth is probably going to be different than another person's truth, but that doesn't make your truth any less valid. And this could even go back to that like backstory part I was getting in this reading, where it's like, people may be offended by your backstory. And it's just like, how are you offended about the things I've been through? How are you offended that I'm talking about my backstory and how I didn't grow up rich, how I didn't have everything handed to me? How are you going to make that a bad thing on my end? Like, you know, I feel like there's something there about that, where it's just like, some people are just, oh no, that fell from here. Some people are just going to be like that. And I feel like you're going to be able to kind of tell the difference of like somebody that genuinely is trying to give you constructive criticism, or somebody that's just being petty and trying to argue with you for no reason. It's interesting here with the Eight of Swords and the Four of Pentacles coming out in this direction. Because I usually see cards that come out in this direction being like things that hold you back, or keep you from progressing forward. And maybe this is like a message here about like, try to steer clear of these two things, because they may slow down your manifestation coming into the picture. The Eight of Swords is really about being trapped inside your mind, overthinking to the point of feeling like you can't do anything, or feeling trapped in something that you can't get out of it, but it's the mental illusions that are created, and it's not necessarily based in reality. So if you find yourself starting to think that way, starting to like overthink things to such a, you know, impossible degree, it's like, try to find the way out, because the thing about the Eight of Swords is there's always a way out. You're not trapped even if you feel like you are trapped. Also, she's blindfolded, so maybe trusting in your intuition over those negative thoughts. Like, I know that I'm meant for this path. I may have moments of doubt. You know, those critical voices in the back of my mind may be trying to tell me that I'm not worthy, or that I'm never going to hit those goals that I want to hit. But you have the power to be like, actually, no, I'm good. I think I'm good. I'm going to keep going on my path because I know this is meant for me. And these negative voices and negative criticisms in my own mind, they can go fuck themselves, you know? And with the Four of Pentacles, kind of same message here. Is like, if you find yourself clinging onto the past, if you find yourself clinging to things desperately, maybe things in your 3D that aren't serving you, maybe certain people that aren't serving you, environments, just anything that you've been kind of holding on to, even though you know deep down it's not really serving a purpose, or it's in some way sabotaging your success or your ability to stay on your path. That's going to be important to kind of shed those things from your energy, because it's important for you to do that, because these are just going to create blockages. I'm hearing the rustling that I heard that one time when I thought that there was something struggling. I'm pretty sure it is either just a chipmunk or a bird. Little critter over there. Don't want to scare it though. It's not bothering me, it's just doing its thing. Yeah, so the Four of Pentacles there. Just be aware of like any sort of codependencies or attachments that are not serving you, because those could create blockages preventing you from furthering your journey and receiving those manifestations. I feel like there's something too about, and maybe this is a little bit of a controversial opinion, but it could be something here about trying not to be so tied into the material, superficial realm. Because sometimes in this 3D world, we can get sort of brainwashed into thinking that we need material things to be happy, to be fulfilled, to be considered successful. I feel like this could be like striving beyond the 3D, striving beyond the material possessions to find what it is that you truly want, not just what society has brainwashed you to want. That could also be helpful. Shedding that sort of way of thinking, even, where it's like, if I don't have a like a sports car, then I'm a failure, because everybody loves sports cars and it's a status symbol. And it's like, but what if you truly in your heart of hearts don't genuinely want a sports car, or you get said sports car and you're like, wow, I feel nothing. You know, it's like, because it's not really fulfilling you. It's just what people have in society has brainwashed you into believing is what you want, just because people validate that sort of thing. Other people are jealous of that sort of thing. People, you know, it's really the narrative of society and not so much your personal narrative. Because maybe, like, yeah, like maybe, maybe, like, you know, this is just an example. Like, I'm not saying that you are this kind of person, but, you know, instead of a sports car, what would truly make you happy is if you bought maybe an old bus, an old school bus, and you transformed it into an RV or whatever it's called, like a tiny house on wheels, you know? Like, like that sounds silly and ridiculous. Like, who would trade a sports car for a school bus that's been transformed into a tiny house on wheels? But maybe you're an adventure seeker. Maybe you're somebody that loves adventure, and how better could you do that than having a tiny home on wheels, so you could just explore, do whatever the hell you want, travel and experience things the whole time you have your home with you. And so it's like that could be way more fulfilling than a sports car. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like something about truly digging deep and really finding, like, not what everybody has brainwashed you to believe you want, but what is it that will genuinely make you happy, make you excited for life, make you excited to live this life, you know? Because it's so easy to get wrapped up in all of this materialism, this superficiality, and I feel like it's getting just worse with the passage of time. People are becoming more superficial, more materialistic, and I find that incredibly sad because, like I said, you may feel hollow when you receive these manifestations if they're, more societal based rather than what you truly want in your heart of hearts. Do you really want to spend all this money on a sports car just to feel nothing inside? Or would you rather get something that is going to help you feel fulfilled, help you feel excited, help you to keep that lust for life, that excitement for life? I don't know if it makes any sense, but I'm hoping it does. And I find this real. Oh, I think I see what this is saying. Because at first I was like, that seems interesting, kind of confusing. Three of Swords, with the obvious imagery here, definitely could be indicating heartbreak. The Hierophant, on the other hand, can sometimes indicate marriage, or like that traditional type of commitment with another person, long-term devotion. I feel, yeah, you probably have been brokenhearted so many times. Maybe by different people, doesn't even have to be specifically in romance, could be just people that have been mean to you through your life, mistreated you. But it's about powering through those times of darkness, powering through those times of heartbreak, and believing that the future is going to be brighter. So if this is related to love, holding out the hope, because like maybe you're like me, 31 years old and never married. So you're like, oh, I kind of want to know what that's like, but all I've been experiencing is just heartbreak after heartbreak. And then you get to this point where you're like, I'm ready to just give up on love, truly, because if it looks like this, I don't want it. You can keep it if it looks like this, because I'm done with that. But it's like, if you push through that darkness, push through those feelings of doubt, those feelings of like, you know, those cycles that seem to be repeating themselves over and over and over again, pushing through those and the difficulties that come with that and the hard feelings that come with that, you will receive what it is that you want in the end. And this may be a specific message about love for someone out there, to believe that you can and you will experience marriage someday, if that's you, you know. You don't have to be exactly my age and all that stuff, but you know, if you crave marriage or if you crave companionship and you just haven't met the right one, holding out for the right one is going to serve you. Also, yeah, like I feel like you're gonna receive what you want here. And it's just about trusting the process, trusting in yourself, trusting in spirit. Like, yeah, that's going to put you in alignment to your manifestations, especially if it comes to love. Because this, it feels like a specific message about love here. In terms of other things, this could be, even if it's not related to love, this could be about like serving humanity. Because someone had to put each of these swords in this heart here. So maybe your past with people in general, with humanity, Maybe you're somebody that has not been treated humanely in your life. And maybe you've experienced a lot of toxic people, a lot of unhealed people, a lot of people that hurt you. And you could become a bitter, jaded person after all of this. But if you keep the faith, you stay strong, you could become somebody that's in a position of power, but you're not going to abuse that power because you know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of someone abusing power over you. And so you're now in this position of power, and instead of being jaded and bitter and against humanity, fuck everyone because I was fucked over in the past, so that's my narrative now. It feels to me like you're going to come into this position of power, and instead of using it as a weapon, you're going to use it as an aid for others. And it's like you're going to take this position of power and you're going to use it for the betterment of society, for the betterment of humanity, rather than doing what people have done to you. So if this isn't about love, it could just be about dealing with humanity and not letting, because there is that natural balance to the universe. It's like we can't have light without darkness, we can't have good without bad. And so maybe that's something too, is kind of just realizing that there's a natural balance to these types of things. And as much as you hate humanity, you may also love humanity, because you know that for all the people out there that are doing bad things, there are also people out there doing good things. And it's like you want to encourage people to show up in that good energy. You want to use your role to better society instead of have it continue on the way that it has been. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that was a strong message coming through with that. Let's look at the bottom of this deck. Ace of Wands. What is that about, Spirit? I feel like this is something about realizing that you have the power. Why do I also feel like you have a lot of divine power, spiritual power? I feel like also spirit is working through you, maybe. So it's maybe this whole story, your whole narrative, your whole backstory, it's so beyond just you. It's huge. The things that you're going to do here are huge. They're going to impact people for generations to come. And it's accepting that you have this power, and you're going to wield it in the right sort of energy, and you're going to be responsible. Yeah, it's something about acknowledging how powerful you truly are and how you can really do the impossible, I want to say. But let's see what's underneath that Ace of Wands. Eight of Wands. So that is fast change, fast incoming energy. So that could be in terms of your manifestations, or this could be some sort of incoming communication as well, or just some major forward progress in your journey. It almost even feels like things could get easier for you when you really truly realize how powerful you are and how capable you are. Things become easier on your journey. But also on the other hand, maybe this could be an offer, maybe an offer that has something to do with what you're trying to manifest. Some sort of communication that is encouraging you to keep going, maybe. I want to see what's underneath that Eight of Wands. Justice. Nice. So maybe this message, if it is a message, it's bringing about that sense of justice. Finally, things are paying off for me. Finally, I see the magic happening in real life. Beautiful. Queen of Cups at the bottom of this deck. Yeah. I mean, this is we were seeing this especially at the beginning of the reading. You're just this kind-hearted person, very loving, very caring, very giving. But, and I think maybe you're learning this, but, you know, try not to be over giving at the same time, because I feel like the Queen of Cups is definitely the type to end up falling into maybe people pleasing habits that aren't really serving you. But I feel like you're growing. You're learning how to create strong boundaries. You're learning how to not be such a pushover if you were a pushover in the past. But your heart is beautiful, and I feel like you should show that off. How kind, how wonderful you are. Um, let's see what's underneath that. Oh, King of Wands. We saw the King of Wands earlier. That's that confidence. That's that motivated energy. That being all fired up and ready to go. And the confidence that you act with. Beautiful energy. So it's almost like, yeah, that feels like a balance to me. Like self-respect, but also caring for others. I want to see what's underneath that. Page of Swords. 3 different, like, people's cards. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like Queen, King, and Page. I don't know. Something about that seems interesting to me. But the Page of Swords is also an observer. Somebody that sees everything, but maybe says nothing. You've also learned a lot through observing things, observing people, observing other people's habits maybe, and you learn through observing. Also, you're a really good listener, and maybe that's something that will serve you. Maybe you can use that in your service for, like, in your service towards humanity, being a good listener, hearing about people's struggles, being an ear for others to, you know, speak to. That could be something that's very helpful. Sets you up for success as well. Also, stay curious, stay open-minded about things, especially the things that you don't know. Being open to learning, being open to explore, I feel like that's going to be important as well. Even if you have doubts, like, oh, I don't know if this is really for me, keep in at least an open mind that, like, okay, maybe it's not for me, but I won't know until I try. Oh, okay, let's break out the oracle and see what it has to add to this reading for the collective. Please and thank you, Spirit. Anything else to add to this beautiful reading for the collective? Please and thank you, Spirit. Anything else about what the collective can do to bring forth their manifestations, and or what are they already doing to bring forth their manifestations? Please and thank you, Spirit. Ooh, okay. Okay. Let's see. This deer and oat one comes out like literally all the time for you guys. I just know that this is my collective because, so the deer and oat represents healing. You have been on your healing journey for probably so long now. Sorry for the screaming in the background. I can't control the children in the background. And for some reason, this feels like I'm getting a very clear picture of like a mental health day, or in my mind, I'm getting like somebody that's like bundled up in a blanket, chilling in their bed, maybe watching something on their phone or on their computer or something, or TV. Kind of just like not doing a whole lot of stuff in the 3D, but you're caring for what's taking place within. I feel like that could be something that you're doing more of on this journey. You're taking those moments to be empathetic to yourself, to be kind and compassionate towards yourself. Like, okay, I've been having a really rough week. I think this weekend I'm just gonna put on some movies. I'm gonna get my comfy pajamas out and I'm just gonna veg out and just do whatever I want to do for the weekend because I've been having a rough week. I'm gonna take some time to just chill. And through that process, you know, you are healing. You are allowing yourself to relax. You're allowing your nervous system to regulate. which is super important, especially when it comes to healing, when it comes to forward progression on your manifestation journey. So if you have those moments, don't feel bad about feeling like, oh, I'm being counterproductive to my goals because I'm taking this day to eat ice cream and watch movies, or, you know, whatever. I would just suggest to, you know, see it as just as productive as your more productive days. Yeah. And then the eel and iris came out, and this represents safety. Creating a sense of safety within is a huge part, I feel. And I feel like you're kind of already doing that, especially with that healing card. I also feel like this is a card of protection, reminding you that you are protected, that spirit is protecting you and keeping you safe on this journey. So you don't need to have any fears about the future. You don't need to worry about the future, because spirit sees what you're doing here, and spirit believes in you and is protecting you so that you can receive those manifestations, so that you can achieve those goals that you were striving towards. And then we have the horse and bluebell. This represents modest fortitude at the bottom of the deck. I feel like this is definitely your energy, where it's like you're not getting a big head of your, like, on your shoulders, or whatever that saying is. You're not becoming like overly overly arrogant or anything like that on this journey. If anything, maybe this journey is even slightly humbling for you, you know? And when you go through it, you're like, okay, I guess I'm being humbled by the universe. Okay, I get it. But also the horse is so... There's something about the horse that is very devoted, that is very... I want to say man's best friend. I know that's usually associated with dogs, but I'm feeling with this horse like man's best friend. If you think about like back in the day, especially, horses were so important because they were the way, our means in order to travel. So people had to take good care of their horses. And think of the connection between rider and horse, owner and horse, you know, like that must have been a very strong connection, like a important connection or tie to one another, and like the reliability of a horse at the same time, because they were relied upon for travel for many, many years in history. Some may say they still are, it just would be in maybe less places at this point with, you know, technology and cars. But yeah, they're reliable, they're sturdy, they're steadfast, and I feel like this is all describing you as well. You're reliable, you're sturdy, you are steadfast. So it's like you have all that it takes to achieve what you want to achieve, to receive those manifestations. Just trust in that and know that you have what it takes. I feel like that's a recurring message throughout this reading, is like, know in your heart of hearts that you have everything that it takes to manifest what you want out of life. This was a really interesting reading. I'm really glad that I chose this topic. I was a little bit worried that maybe it was like a little bit of a convoluted sort of topic, but I'm glad I did, because this is actually really beautiful. I really hope that you enjoyed this too. If you liked this reading and if it resonated at all, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you subscribe, you can become a part of the Hive Collective, because my name is Bee. Bees live in hives, and you can become an honorary bee like me, and we can be a little bee family together. If you like my readings and you'd like to see more, be sure to click that bell icon down below so that YouTube actually notifies you the next time that I upload. And thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.